Thank you, Anna. Well, applying for a mortgage will be one of the most important financial decisions you'll make in your life. So you need to make sure you're well-versed and ready for the responsibilities associated with getting a loan. This morning, Wilkins is back on the couch to answer some of our questions. Welcome back. Thanks so much
for
having
us.
Me. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
So the big question, is the beginning of the year the best time to refinance?
You know what? We talk about January being Merry Debtmas. You know, we all go through the holidays and sometimes there's some overspending, but January is really all about New Year's resolutions. So no matter if you want to try to get your finances in line with maybe a refinance or buying your first home, January is a good time to think about that. And the first of the year is a good time just to look at your whole financial picture. And, you know, home ownership and a mortgage is the biggest transaction of your life and it's the biggest debt of your life. And I think starting the new year fresh is so important.
It's a huge decision.
It's a huge decision. Yeah, it totally is.
Really the biggest decision people make in their lives.
100%. I think it's bigger than having a baby or getting married. I think, you know, home ownership is just so important. It's part of the Canadian dream. And, you know, starting the new year, we have lots of resolutions, maybe about our fitness or whatever, but I think home ownership is a great point as well.
Okay, so let's say you're one of those people, you're going into 2020 saying, this is it. This is my year. I'm going to buy a house. What do I need to know? What is my first step? I guess even before I'm approved. What's my first step, maybe?
I think doing a pre-approval is so important. I think that, you know, mortgage lending is really based on three cornerstones. It's based on income, it's based on assets, and it's based on credit. And I think coming in and doing a pre-approval with an unbiased mortgage professional like myself is important because you don't know what you don't know. And there's so many nuances to mortgage lending and there's so many different lenders out there that maybe your bank branch that you do your normal transaction with isn't the best fit. There's so many options out there. And, you know, I think seeking the advice is important.
Okay, so if I'm going to see someone perhaps like yourself, what do I need to prepare? Like, what do I need to take? Like, what documents do I need to take? You need to get some things organized, right, before you walk in the door.
So when someone comes to see someone like me, typically what we do is we send them a list up front of what income documents we need. And everybody's situation is a little bit different. You know, for example, you're on a salary. I'm self-employed. There's different documents that would be required. So we send that out to the client up front. So it gives them a little bit of time to, you know, dig around and find their T4s or their notice of assessments. Because I think documentation sometimes is a challenging piece for people because, you know, you get your documents, you deal with them, and then you don't look at them again. So sometimes going and searching for the documents is important. And, you know, sometimes that takes people a little bit of time because if you don't have the documents, you know, maybe the lender won't approve you. So I think, you know, getting those documents up front and getting it during that pre-approval process, you know what you have.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to take out your crystal ball.
Okay.
Because I know you have one here.
I know.
Because everyone...
It's the magic. It's the mortgage magic, right?
It's the
really.
mortgage magic. So it's 2020. Do you see any changes coming on, just quickly?
Well, this month the Bank of Canada is meeting. So I think it's a wait and see type situation. And the Bank of Canada could definitely impact what happens with variable rate mortgage products. In terms of fixed rates, we've seen a little bit of a spike the last couple months. They've gone up a little bit. We're still almost at historic lows. I suspect they're still going to stay low, and maybe they'll go down. Who knows? But I think it's a wait and see, and I think seeking the advice of someone like me, we can really keep an eye on it and provide that expert advice.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining
us
this morning. Okay, and you know what? I love some of those ideas because it means just be prepared. Get out that paperwork.
And talk about it. You know, let's break down those taboos.
Okay, well, we're talking about it with you right here on the couch. We'll have you back soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.